Hello there, guys. We're going to talk about Deepseek for a little while. That's the Chinese AI that has caused a little bit of a storm because it's come along and it's shown that China have been able to create essentially their own version of Chat GPT, which is effectively more or less on par with the higher end AIs that are currently available in America, but they've been able to do it using much lower end equipment. They haven't had access to the same kinds of computer chips that the Americans have. In fact, the Americans had a bit of an embargo on trying to stop China from getting them because they wanted to maintain advantage over that particular industry. So the reason that it's come as such a shock that they've released DeepSeek and people have looked at it, it's not because DeepSeek is necessarily that much better than anything else. It's the fact that they've managed to create something that works to such a level off of much lower end technology, and arguably therefore they've done it more efficiently with less costs involved, probably less energy being required to do it, etc. And the thought in the United States and, well, you know, the rest of the West for that matter, has been that it requires the highest end computer chips, lots and lots of energy, lots and lots of data to be feeding everything off. So it has been described as a bit of a Sputnik moment, this referencing back when the Soviets were the first country to put a satellite up into space, and the Americans realised that they were further behind the Soviets than they'd thought. Now, obviously, that then spurred the Americans to later go on and put a man on the moon. But nonetheless, it is a bit of a wake-up call there. It does suggest that America's perceived or expected dominance in the field of AI may be challenged a little bit. And the reason that it's had such a knock-on effect on the stock market is because the stock market, especially in America, that ever increasingly in recent years has been tilted towards the tech sector. That's created a lot of wobbles because a lot of investors are suddenly going, oh, well, hang on a minute. You know, all of these companies were saying we need loads of monies, all the best chips, loads of energy, all the data to train our AIs on, and then these AI models are going to become the future because we're going to be able to come up with applications for them. We'll be able to integrate smart chatbots into all kinds of different realms of life and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Suddenly they're going, well, hang on a minute. We've been investing all of our money into you guys. And then suddenly, over off in China, they seem to have done something with an equivalent quality to it, at only a fraction of the price. So what's the deal? It has knocked confidence a little bit. Now, one thing that I do want to bring up, which I do think is a slight point of concern and interesting, and it shouldn't come as a surprise. You know, this is an AI coming out of China. You ask it about Tiananmen Square, for example, and it will say either, you know, oh, sorry, I can't answer that question, or there's not really anything to do with that, maybe just political misinformation. It seems to be a combination of that. If you ask this DeepSeek AI about anything particularly controversial in China, to do with, you know, repression of human rights or whatever, you tend to get either a response that downplays it or just, I can't answer that right now, please ask me a different thing, something like that. And the reason I say it's not surprising is because obviously anything that's going to come out of China that does the kinds of things that the DeepSeek AI would obviously also have some hard limits built into it, so it's not contradicting the ideology and the version of the truth that the Chinese Communist Party wants to put out. But I do think that that should be noticed at the very least, to go, you know, that kind of thing is absolutely possible for any AI model. There's nothing to say that at a point in the future there couldn't be an equivalent level of censorship going on with some of the widely used models that we have here in the United Kingdom or the United States or Europe for that matter. So that's a thing just to consider, just to be mindful of there, that is a possibility as well. So that's basically just a little breakdown on DeepSeek. One positive elements, I suppose, that I will say from all of this, as much as it has come as a shock to Silicon Valley that the Chinese have managed to make this product so relatively easily, it would seem. What it also indicates is that there are better and more efficient ways of doing what they're already trying to do. And once they recalibrate their efforts and they say, right, okay, this is what the Chinese did, this is the way that they did it using the lower end computer chips, now we can change the way we're doing stuff. Arguably, you would hope it would mean that you're going to get more efficient AI building in the West, that it's ultimately going to cost less to do, that it's going to require less energy to do, that overall the Chinese, having made this advancement, is going to spur on Western AI to try and make the same kind of increased efficiency when it comes to the models that they're putting out there. So as far as the technology at large goes, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the advancement of this, that kind of says, look, there's a much easier way to do this that people weren't necessarily considering. Unless, of course, we subscribe to the idea that inevitably one of these AIs is going to gain sentience and kill all of humanity, in which case we've only brought that a little bit closer, a little bit quicker. But, you know, we endeavour to be optimistic here on this channel, don't we? Anyway, that's it for the time being, folks. Thank you very much. Catch you later on.